Hi guys. Welcome to my channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. The most life-changing books you will remember forever. So make sure to watch the full video. Have you ever read a book that completely altered your worldview? A book that has been with you ever since and that, every time you think back on it, brings that intense experience back to life? If so, kudos to you. You've gained what may be reading's largest advantage. A permanent shift in the viewpoint that has changed the trajectory of your life irrevocably. That's why we read, and it's the purpose of books that can change your life. 10 James P. Carse's Finite and Endless Games, for starters. Favorite phrase. Immense players play with boundaries, finite players play within boundaries. James Carse. One sentence for the book. Finite and infinite games present the hypothesis that humans participate in a variety of games throughout life, demonstrating that work and relationships are long-term activities and demonstrating how to play them in order to succeed. How come you should read it? With the help of this book, you will be able to distinguish between situations where people play with a short-term perspective, which is almost everywhere and most of the time, and situations where they take a long-term, generational approach, forever altering your perspective on business, politics, relationships, and pretty much everything else that is happening in the world. Also, you'll discover compelling justifications and motivations for planning ahead of time yourself and learn why, most of the time, it makes a significant impact. 9 Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. Favorite phrase. What makes life interesting is having the chance to fulfill a dream. Paulo Coelho. One sentence for the book. In the classic book The Alchemist, a young boy named Santiago sets out to find treasure in the Egyptian pyramids, after having a recurring dream about it. Along the way, he encounters mentors, falls in love, and, most importantly, learns the value of understanding himself better and how to put his attention on the things that are most important in life. How come you should read it? Every page of this book appeals to your curiosity, yet it never leaves you feeling overly overwhelmed. Although it's short and you'll probably read it in a few sittings, it's almost impossible to put down. The main theme of the book is significant, destiny, but Coelho writes in a style that is accessible to all readers. You'll consequently be overcome with awe and profound gratitude while also being impatient to begin discovering your destiny. Reading this is essential. 8 Ray Dalio's Principles. Favorite phrase. If you're not failing, you're not stretching yourself, and if you're not stretching yourself, you're not maximizing your potential. Ray Dalio. The set of guidelines for work and life that billionaire investor Ray Dalio, CEO of the most successful fund in history, has accumulated over the course of his 40-year career in finance are contained in the book One Sentence Principles. How come you should read it? This book will show you how one of the kindest, most intelligent, and most successful people in the world learned how to think the way he thinks. It's a great example of how a book can help you absorb a human lifetime's worth of lessons in just a few hours. Then Dalio shares the life lessons he has learned so far. Finally, he shares all that he has learned about producing excellent work and working well with others. Read this book if you want a mentor to inspire and direct you personally, and see our complete list of Ray Dalio books to learn more about his writing. 7 Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens. Favorite phrase. We study history not to know the future but to broaden our horizons, to understand that our current situation is neither natural nor inescapable and that consequently, we have many more possibilities before us than we imagine, says the author. Mr. Yuval Noah Harari. The book in one sentence Sapiens is your guide to learning everything there is to know about the entire history of the human race, covering everything from our prehistoric ancestors to our current dominant position. How come you should read it? If you're looking for a comprehensive survey in a single volume, this is probably the best book on human history. Everything from the beginning of time to the present will be covered, and you'll learn how to put current events from a historical perspective. Reading this should be a requirement in schools. 6 Morgan Housel's book The Psychology of Money. Favorite phrase. Planning is important, but the most crucial component of every plan is to plan for things to go awry. Morgan Housel. One sentence for the book. The Psychology of Money looks at how money is distributed in an economy, How emotions and personal prejudices affect our financial decisions, and how to think more logically and make wiser financial decisions. How come you should read it? This is the alchemist of finance books, not because it contains motivational tales. Though it does, but rather because of the straightforward language it uses to explain a difficult subject. Housel provides some fascinating, unusual, and yet incredibly sensible examples. This book is quick and simple to read, and when it comes to money, those are two uncommon occurrences. After reading this book, you'll likely feel much calmer about your financial situation and, most likely, you'll also make a lot more wise decisions. 5. James Clear's Atomic Habits. Favorite phrase. Every decision you make represents a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Mr. James Clear. One sentence for the book. Atomic Habits is the go-to manual for quitting bad habits and forming good ones in 4 easy steps. It demonstrates how little, incremental changes in daily routines over time add up to big, positive change. How come you should read it? You'll only ever need to read this book about habits. With close to 10 million copies sold in just 4 years, it is the ideal guide for understanding how to alter any behavior, advance daily, and allow the favorable effects to accumulate over time. 4. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Favorite phrase. We are challenged to change ourselves when we are unable to alter a circumstance. Viktor Frankl. One sentence for the book. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, describes in Man's Search for Meaning his gruesome experiences in Nazi concentration camps, along with his psychological strategy of logotherapy, which also enabled him to survive. Viktor Frankl's story demonstrates how you can, and must, find meaning in your life. How come you should read it? Most of us find it impossible to imagine the horrors of war, let alone concentration camps. By sharing some of the experiences that Frankl personally went through, this book will not only add genuine, research-based insight into how they might shape one's life, but it will also offer a healthy dose of humility. Read this book if you want your life to have more purpose and optimism. 3. The most life-changing fiction book. Jules Verne's Paris in the 20th Century. Favorite phrase. I'll start buying books with the great poets and famous authors of the previous century with the little money I have. They will comfort me each night as I reflect on the day's frustrations. Paul Verne. One sentence for the book. The novel Paris in the 20th Century, which is set 100 years in the author's future, imagines a highly developed dystopian society in 1960 France and the struggles a young artist faces adjusting to it. How come you should read it? This book is fascinating because of its insight as well as its story. Jules Verne predicted some technological advancements that would actually become commonplace by the time 1960 rolled around, and his accuracy in doing so is astounding. Verne witnessed a wide range of technological advancements, including typewriters, maglev trains, elevators, cars, and lanterns. This makes you wonder what we, or at the very least our children and grandchildren, may experience in another 100 years. Read this book to find out how to foresee the future. 2. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Favorite phrase. Look closely at how a man treats his inferiors, not his equals, if you want to understand him. J.K. Rowling. One sentence for the book. In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry is depicted in his 4th year at Hogwarts, where he stumbles into the Triwizard Tournament and a series of challenges that he is ill-prepared for. But by the book's conclusion, he must take accountability for not only himself but also the entire wizarding world. How come you should read it? The fact that Harry grows up in this book, not voluntarily, but under duress, is what makes it my favorite of all the Harry Potter novels. This book is about accepting complete responsibility for your life and learning to always do what is right, even if it costs you something. Read this book if you want to live a good life, take care of your responsibilities, and still have fun. 1. The Why Cafe by John Strelicky. Favorite phrase. Why don't we just do what we want now rather than spend so much time getting ready for when we can? One sentence for the book. The Why Cafe is a book about how to discover your purpose and live the life you've always wanted. It is based on a made-up encounter that occurred in a straightforward yet magical cafe. How come you should read it? This is a quick and simple book to read, but it might be exactly the right one for you right now. Perhaps you feel lost, like John, who stumbles upon a mysterious yet welcoming cafe while traveling to a much-needed vacation. Perhaps you are asking yourself how and why you are living your life. And perhaps you too, like John, can profit from the inquiries the amiable cafe staff holds out in front of him as he savors a delectable piece of cake. Read this book if you're looking for a sense of direction in life. So, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. Use the comments section below to tell us what you think about the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of all the latest videos.